Public Works, DPW. Motion to approve the minutes and last. Evelyn, Mr. Dickinson, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll do the action agenda. I'll turn it over to Justin, or you first, sir? You want to introduce Justin?
Justin's here, give us an update.
Good morning, everybody. Well, the spring is finally here, and we're going full bore on a lot of different projects, not the least of which being a major brush project on the Sanford Lake branch. We've purchased and are putting into service several different pieces of equipment, including a high-rail grapple truck, and we're also getting what's called a Jordan spreader, which is a pretty unique piece of railroad equipment. It's coming to us from northern New Hampshire. It should be here sometime in June, and basically it's a glorified plow. It's got big wings on the side of it, and it's used for spreading ballast, ditching, and removing brush. This project is going to provide 5 additional seasonal jobs that we typically wouldn't have on the railroad, and the project will last from late May to early November. So that's 5 additional seasonal jobs that will be available in North Creek between May and November. In addition to that project, which, by the way, that is a very sizable project, we're also redoing all the dome seats in both of our domes, the 508 and the 512. We're doing other enhancements to our dome cars, including more refrigeration. We're adding a dishwasher actually contained in one of our dome cars, which it hasn't had before. I think I mentioned to you last month briefly, we're going to be putting a new coach into service, the 5525, which is going to have the addition of a cafe inside of it for food service for our coach passengers. That coach will also get reupholstered seats and a lot of other cosmetic work both inside and out. The 146 coach, which is a coach that we currently have in service, is also being totally rehabbed inside. New stainless steel on the walls, new carpeting, and all new reupholstered seats. So we're really stepping up our amenities on the train. We're also going to be doing more cosmetic improvements to Thurman and Hadley stations, which I'll be working with Jeff on in the near future. Nothing real drastic, but basically just enhancing the overall appearance. We're going to be putting up some signs for the stations. In Hadley and Hadley Luzerne Station, we're going to add a lot of grounds enhancements, shrubbery, flowers, signs, just something to give it a little more curbside appeal. Not that it doesn't already look fantastic, but we're just going to enhance it. You guys are probably aware we've been working with Corinth Station to finalize a design on that station, which groundbreaking should be sometime in June or early July. I'm going to leave it up to Dick Lucia and his team that are working on that to announce the final design plan and when that project will start, but just to let you know, that is something that we are working on. In the month of May, we are going to move another 4,000 tons of product from Tahawus to satisfy the contract with Massachusetts DOT. 2 weeks ago, I went out to Thief River Falls, Minnesota, which is home to the Arctic Cat plant, and it's also a temporary home for our new locomotive. We're going to be receiving a GP38. It's currently being rebuilt, having some pretty extensive work done, and it should be here sometime in the middle of August. I'm going to be meeting with the Executive Vice President of Marketing for Canadian Pacific this week to further the discussions about our freight contract that we've been working on. As I mentioned before, we are gaining traction with Canadian Pacific, and we are very hopeful that these conversations are going to get us to where we need to be to realize the contract to move the stone down to the New York City area. And the last thing that I have on the list today, I'm looking for board approval. I don't believe we've done this before, at least I couldn't find any record of it, but I would like to get approval to relocate the concession caboose that's in Riverside to be moved down to Thurman Station. I know that there's going to be a lot of other questions that need to be answered in the midst of this project, but it's something that we would like to go forward with, and I thought it would be appropriate to get board approval first before we went any further.
All right, somebody make, have one? Second, Mr. Dickinson, any questions?
What's the reason?
The reason being, since we're running the North End Local out of Thurman Station, we believe it will get more, better foot traffic. Since we have been here, we haven't operated it in Riparius. There really hasn't been much of a cause to do so. So we think it's another amenity for the town of Thurman, and it's another amenity for the passengers that will be coming to Thurman Station.
Is that the one we tried selling a few years ago?
Yeah. No, they own it.
They own it? I thought we owned it.
No, they own it, Jeff, right?
No, the
Well,
town,
that's
the
the
county
story we
owns
were
it.
telling everybody.
It just hasn't been utilized and
Yeah, but he says they own it, you guys say,
Okay, maybe the county, maybe it's
I believe
maybe
it's
the county
part of
does still own it, but,
It's,
yeah.
it's outlined in the lease that we are responsible
They're
for, but
responsible
it is
for it.
county owned, yes.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right,
Well,
I have one question.
sure.
Whose responsibility is to maintain those little stations? Zimmerman, Hadley, Zern?
That's our responsibility. Every year we hire a seasonal position for a groundskeeper.
Okay, do you keep a record of who uses them? Who you last approved to use them?
Not generally, no.
Just, I mean, I hate to bring it up to me, but I opened the station last Friday for the, Maple Fest, and it was just horrible inside.
Okay.
Bathrooms were really bad, no toilet paper, a lot of dirt and debris all over the place. I don't know when the last, I didn't open it to anybody else, so I don't know when the last someone used it, but garbage was still left in the garbage cans.
Okay.
But it was just, you know, it was, unfortunately, if I would've opened it early, I would've taken care of it, but it was at 4
Yeah.
o'clock when they told me to be there, that's when I went.
It hadn't been utilized since,
Doesn't look like it
late
was, but,
October,
yeah,
so.
okay. All right,
But,
thanks.
no, that is our responsibility.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Jeff, you wanna move on?
Sure, I have a update on the, second page. That's the pancake breakfast one that we set on the agenda last month. I have one photo too, I'll pass around. It was another successful event. Really, that event is limited really only by the size of the building. And so we often have a packed house and lots of pancakes eaten. Next item on the agenda is just a, stocking update. And the crews will be out. Majority of the stocking will occur this week. That gives you kind of a rundown of number and length and type of fish being stocked and where.
So, these were stocked at 421 in Lake George?
Yep.
There's a lot in Jabe's Pond. That sounds like a lot of fish.
And that's all for the Parks and Recs.
All right,
agenda.
we'll move right into DPW.
Okay, first on the agenda is I have Jim Liebram here from Soil and Water, just to give the committee an update on our MS4 annual report.
Every year at this time, we develop the MS4 annual report. And it stands for the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. It's in generally developed areas. Some communities are MS4 communities, but the county is responsible for developing this report on any of their infrastructure in the town of Queensbury and Lake George. So it's a DEC report, and this year it's about 56 pages long. It's not really that bad. It's a tally or a summation of the activities and the goals that were achieved from your MS4 plan. So there's items in here. It's broken down by 6 minimum control measures, and they range from stormwater projects all the way to public education and outreach. So if you would like to take a look at this, Jeff included the letter that I sent last Friday. The draft for comment is open until, I believe it'll be May 15th, which is the Board of Supervisors meeting. It's available at our website, so it's in the back page of your big packet. And, there is a link at the county website that shoots it over to ours as well. So, there's a hard copy, I believe, Jeff, at your office. If not, you can take this. And there's a hard copy at our office. So, public comments are welcome. And I don't know if there's any questions, but.
Anybody have any questions for Jim? All right, thank you for coming, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. Okay, the first item on the agenda is on page 1. This is a request for a new contract for highway rehab. This is an annual bid for hot in-place recycling.
Evelyn? Pat? Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Passed.
On page 3 is a request for new contract. This is for a bid that we will be receiving next week on the 5th. This is for pavement markings. This is our annual striping contract.
Mr. Conover? Do I get a second? Ms. Wood? Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
And page 4 is another request for a new contract with contractor to be determined. We've got crane services being bid, and bids are due on the 14th. This is for services that we use on our various bridge projects when we need heavy lift capability.
Ms. Dickinson? Bud? Ms. Taylor? Sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
I have
Yes.
a question. How many, responses do you get? How many crane operators are there around?
We normally get a few, but, you know, some of the ones that are traveling longer distances kind of price themselves out.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Okay, the next 4 resolution requests are all relative to the County Route 44 bridge. This is between Town of Lake Luzerne and Town of Hadley. This is a federal aid project, and on page 5 is a request for the new grant. This is the typical Federal Highway Administration and DOT funding shares. The next request is on page 12. That's to increase the capital project for that grant in those grant amounts. On page 13 is a request for a new contract, intermunicipal agreement with Saratoga County. Because the bridge is co-owned between Warren County and Saratoga, they will match the local match 50/50 with Warren County. And then on page 14 is the new contract. That's for the engineering relative to the contract, and that would be a request for a new contract with Clough Harbor Associates.
Make a motion for all four.
A second? Mr. Dickinson, I have a question. When are they gonna do the work?
Hopefully we can get it out in the end of this year.
Oh, the end of this year. It's
This
not gonna,
season.
it's not gonna be a Medicaid week or any in the middle of
No,
summer.
it'll be late summer.
We had that
early
once,
fall.
we had that once before, 5, 7 years ago.
Yeah, we're gonna try and get it done in this construction year, but it'll be either late this construction year or early next spring.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Okay, starting on page 22 is 3 more requests. The first one on page 22 is new grant, again, for Federal Highway and New York State DOT grant funding on a project we're calling County Bridge Painting Project. On page 22 is the increase to capital project to reflect that grant funding. And then on page 29 is the new contract with Clark Patterson Lee for the engineering relative to that project. This is a project for some steel and painting work on Horicon Avenue over Schroon River Bridge in town of Chester, and also the Glen Athol Road over Patterson Creek Bridge in Thurman.
And anybody have any questions? I saw a hand. Who's handed that? Oh, Matt. I'm sorry, Mr. Sokol. I couldn't see your head. I'm sorry. Do I get a second? Edna, thank you. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Okay. On page 35 is a request to transfer funds between road projects. Engineering has gone out and assessed based on our project list that was approved by the board last fall. We've updated the estimates based on the current conditions, having gone through the winter season, and we're requesting to move some funding, between those projects, within those road project codes.
Ms. Dickinson?
Motion?
Matt? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, and then there's one, transfer on 36 too that goes with that. And then on page 37 is request to close road projects. These, this list of projects here on this request are the ones that we've, zeroed out and the projects are complete. So resolutions needed to formally close them.
Mr. Dickinson, Ms. Wood, any questions on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Okay. Just under action items, I do have one, late addition. This is for an authorization to attend meeting or convention. This is for, advanced, training in Excel, Excel spreadsheets. And this is one that I'd like to send, for, personnel from DPW. I did consult with IT, and it's not something that we teach in-house. This kinda takes and builds on what the IT guys here in the county, do for county employees on an occasional basis. So this one is, it's at, Queensbury Hotel, and the cost is $179 per person, but with 3 registrants, we get a 4th free, so, I'm requesting authorization for that.
You
We
could
do
cover
have
that,
one on
you
budget.
could cover that in your budget. Mr. Dickinson? Mr. Connell?
I have
Got
a
a question?
question. Are they engineers, or
I think they're,
clerks, or?
I have a combination. So I have, my highway manager, George, so
Yeah.
he's, you know, prior in engineering, but he does a lot of tracking on Excel. And then also, my, fiscal manager and her assistant. And who's the 4th one we're sending? Oh, my confidential secretary, so, frankly, we use Excel a lot, both in engineering and in just, fiscal matters. Pretty much all of the spreadsheets that you guys see here are all Excel spreadsheets, and so I think it'll pay dividends for us, and looks like a good course.
All right.
Huh?
We voted on it and passed it? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Passed.
Now we have.
Okay, now we have.
Okay, moving on to referral and pending items. I do have a pending item. We're waiting on some, grant documents on another federal aid project. This is the Palisades Road over Brant Lake Inlet project. This project has been going on, for some time, but we've got a major scope change. We initiated the project as an element-specific, rehab project, and as we got into engineering, we realized that it was gonna require much more work. So we're anticipating, sometime between now and the board meeting, receiving the supplemental agreement for the DOT grant, and then also we'll have a supplemental agreement with Floyd Albert Associates, they're the engineers on the project. That will take, you know, change the scope into a bigger project for us. But I wanted to make the committee aware so that if we receive those, grant documents, we can advance them out of committee, so that we keep the project moving.
We need a resolution for that right now?
No, I can do it out of committee, I just wanted to, unless there's any concerns, that's how I'd advance it as soon as we receive the documents from DOT.
Okay. Privilege to the floor for any discussion?
I got a few more items on the back of the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry
Okay.
about that.
On page 38 is a letter I got from, Assemblyman Steck, and, we don't have the official document, although they may be posted online now on the winter recovery funds. This is the enhancement, to CHIPS that everyone in the state all the municipalities will be receiving. Anyway, we're anticipating getting the official documentation on this additional $177,000 and change, in addition to our normal CHIPS funding. And what I'd like to do is program some additional projects, and I have a few photos I wanna send around just on a few of the projects that, in reassessing our road structures, these are the ones that have been recommended by my engineers to utilize this additional money. On page 39, you'll see, our project list. The upper section is our 2015 projects that are already funded for this year. And then you'll see in that center section, an additional, application of those $177,000 to 4 different, roads. One being, Sagamore Road, Country Club Road in Queensbury, and, that is, East River Drive and, Garnet Lake Road. That's what I'm recommending. We certainly have a lot of other projects you'll see on the bottom of the list that are not funded and on our radar. And as those photos go around, those are some of the conditions we're dealing with and why we'd like to apply that money to these projects. So my intent would be, if we have consensus of the committee, is again, once we receive the official notification, what I call that CHIPS letter, which is the official document from DOT, then we would advance an out of committee to establish 2 new road projects and to also transfer funds into the existing road projects that need some enhancement.
Mr. Conover? Get a second? Ms. Wood? Any comments? Just so you got almost 2 million there, plus 177 possible. So you're talking quite a lot of money this year, for roads and, okay. Because I hear from, I see in letters that we only spent 350,000 on paving roads compared to 800,000 that we spent on the airport.
No, and these...
And I don't know where they get their numbers, but these numbers to me show me 2 million, maybe 3, I know last year we spent 3 million, right, on roads just about?
We spent 3.14 million, in materials and contracts on roads. By when we were all said and done applying, equipment and labor rates, it was about $4 million worth of work last year.
So it's not 350,000 like I thought I saw a letter.
No,
Okay.
and also, these are the road projects, the official, projects. There's a lot of other maintenance, money spent, both in materials and contracts, and, certainly for highway crews, stay busy year-round.
Jeff, I noticed in this photo here on Country Club Road, is that just Country Club Road?
Yes.
in Queensbury?
Yes.
Are they doing something about the whoop-de-doops they have every?
That's the section,
That's the
yeah.
section, okay. Yeah, that'll send you right off his face. I should slow down.
We'd like to apply that funding in and reconstruct that entire area. We think that part of the cause may have been, some of the utility work that had been done there in recent years.
Yeah.
And it may have, changed some drainage in the substructure of the roadway. So we're gonna do a complete reconstruction on that section and try and get water flowing out of the sub-base again.
Good.
All right, any other questions, Jeff, on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Okay. Just a quick update on the Middleton Bridge. We mentioned last meeting that we were still waiting on the state to actually determine what the status of this property was. There was some recent, another recent letter from the Solicitor General, the state, and so it is back on the radar again. And I know I did speak with Betty Little's office as well last week, and they're engaged with DOT. And what I tried to convey to Keith and Betty's office was that, regardless of the status of the bridge, that the status of the land really should be resolved. And the bridge, at some point, again, the committee will have to consider how we proceed with that project, whether we want to do the bridge, whether we want to enhance the adjacent roadways. But that should be free and clear of this land status, and so I'll keep the committee updated as we get any new information on that. But it does appear that it's at least back on the radar again, and probably because of some of the press that was out on it. Page 40 is a flyer on the winter, let's see, what's it called? Efficiency and Winter Road Maintenance Workshop. This is a free workshop that is available to elected officials, both supervisors and highway superintendents. As it turns out, I think that's the day of personnel and finance, and it's held at Fort William Henry, so I talked to Beth Gillis of the Lake George Plain Regional Planning Board, and, she asked me to include this flyer here and just make sure everybody's aware, and hopefully, you can catch that, after finance, next week. There's no cost.
I think, yeah, Bud and I just talked about that. We might cancel the LDC so that, you know, I like to go and a few other people like to go, so we'll let you know on that.
That flyer's on page 40. On page 41 is a request from the LGA to give them a letter of support for their various projects, include the floating classroom, healthy lake demonstration program, and lake-friendly living. I think I have given letters of support in the past without bringing it through committee. I just bringing it really to your attention. I don't anticipate there being any problem with me giving them a letter of support. But this is an FYI for you.
Joan did send that out last week. I just filed it. So the letter of support is already done and the
Okay.
chairman signed it.
Okay.
I'm sure they do last minute things, huh?
Yeah.
Done deal.
All right, it's done deal.
It may have been a separate request from the board, because sometimes I get one as superintendent of public works.
I can
So
show
I'll
you.
verify with them. Okay, great, thank you. I think they like to include as many letters as they can, so I may end up doing another letter.
All right.
Okay.
To the floor? Is that you done, Jeff? I'm sorry, I keep
I'm
interrupting.
done. I just have, you'll see the attached, the normal road reports on, salt usage and fuel usage. We did recover some, as you recall, we were in the hole here on salt, and luckily we had a pretty merciful March, so we've recovered some on that front. And then, our continued low fuel costs, fuel prices has treated us well thus far, this year. But we do see some prices moving upward now.
Mr. Connell?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I don't expect a response today, Jeff, but at some point I'd like to hear from you regarding your thoughts on where in the county we might want to start considering applying the clear lane. And also, for you and Paul, how that decision, I would assume it would be near water bodies and that kind of thing, but how that decision might affect our reimbursement formula with the towns, in that the clear lane might actually cost a little more. So I know the state's moved in some areas, has moved to the clear lane. We've moved to it. But in any event, at some point I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Again, not today, I know we're moving right along today, but if you could share your thoughts.
Did you get any prices on that,
Yeah, I think you should come with the prices. It's more. It costs more. You're supposed to use 20% less. It's not it has rust inhibitors in it, and also it has less of a spread when it stays where you put it, better than regular salt. There's a lot, and it's more environmentally friendly. But I can tell you, it's also more effective at much lower temperatures than regular rock salt. I mean, like 20 degrees or some incredible differential to have to treat it. And but I would be interested in hearing your thoughts on that. And I know they've been using it in the village for some time. They claim it's saving them money. But even if it didn't save a whole lot of money, if it's more environmentally friendly, maybe we should be thinking about it in those terms. And also, our equipment, the ability of our equipment is to be able to handle the new product, our spreaders, computer systems, and that kind of thing, because there are costs associated with that type of upgrade as well.
Thank you. Any other, open to the floor, privilege? The only I guess with all our talk at our last board meeting about roads and bad, how many other supervisors, I know Kevin did, I got a call from the state DOT guy, I guess he read the article, and then, I did talk to our local person, I think they're gonna put a meeting together for some of the supervisors to get with them, I think you've been working on that, but, I guess they don't like it in the paper, so, but, it was good, no, it was really, good conversation, and try to explain them. And it's easier for the people that down in Albany, you know, come up here and take a ride around with us and see what we're talking about, you know, it's, especially like one I complained about 9N and, coming into Lake Luzerne, I mean, it's about a mile of nothing but tree stumps and branches all over the road, and, you know, it looks horrible. It's gonna take them a while to clean it up, so. All right, anything else? Motion adjourned, stick us in, Mr. Wood, thank you.
You too. Have a nice trip to Albany.
It's on the front of that, oh, I do too.
He's important.